Well, hello, welcome. I'm glad that you're here with us as we continue our chronological read through of the Bible. Today, we're going to return to the book of Jeremiah. We're going to complete what you might call the narrative section of the book. And what we're going to read today is really very fascinating. Nebuchadnezzar had appointed Gedaliah governor over those who survived in Judah. Unfortunately, we read actually a number of days ago that Gedaliah didn't heed the warnings of revolt that he had been given, and he trusted instead in his own wisdom and in his own strength. That led to his death and actually disaster for the survivors left in Jerusalem. So today we pick up with Ishmael in his murderous rebellion against Gedaliah. Ishmael and his men rebel against Gedaliah. Then they're fleeing to the Ammonites, taking with them a lot of captives from Judah. When they're intercepted and defeated by Johanan and his men, well, fearful that they're going to be charged. Johanan then is fearful that he's going to be charged by Babylon with the rebellion that Ishmael had actually done. So Johanan proposes that they should go to Egypt. They should find refuge there. So he would take him, his men, and all of the remnant that was left behind in Jerusalem to Egypt. Uh, but before doing that, he decides that he probably really should check and see what God's will is. So he goes to Jeremiah. Now, God tells him through Jeremiah not to go to Egypt for refuge, but that they should stay where they are, that God himself will protect them and prosper them. Indeed, God tells Johanan through Jeremiah that if they go to Egypt, they're going to die there at the hands of the Babylonians, the very ones they fear, and famine, which is, of course, the other thing that they fear. Well, Johanan calls Jeremiah and Baruch liars, and he defiantly says he's going anyway. And he takes Jeremiah and Baruch with them, even when, even though when he made his first inquiry of Jeremiah, he said, "Hey, whatever the Lord says, that's what we're going to do." But once he finds out what the Lord says, well, not so much. He's going to do what he wants to do anyway. Even more, when Jeremiah then calls them out for their idolatry, they've been offering sacrifices to other gods, and tells them that they need to stop that. Basically, the people say no. When we offered sacrifices to those gods, when we worshiped those idols, we had lots, we had plenty. When we stopped, we became destitute. They really don't get it, do they? Anyway, that's basically where the narrative ends, with this tremendous defiance by even the remnant that's left after the crushing blow of Babylon. Now, in human terms, especially with that kind of an ending, you might think that Jeremiah's ministry is a failure. Judah never listened to him, even after things that came true. They still wouldn't listen to him when he told them what God had to say, and they actually seemed to just get bolder and bolder in their defiance and disobedience. But Jeremiah actually was a resounding success because he remained faithful to the Lord, even in great adversity, and he declared what the Lord called him to declare when the Lord asked him to do it. To do the Lord's will is never a failure, no matter how the sinful world responds to it. Now, the last chapter we're going to read today, it's kind of a short chapter. It's almost a footnote about Baruch, Jeremiah's scribe. It's chapter 45. Baruch served Jeremiah for at least 20 years. Now, when he started this service, he might have had the idea that this was going to be a path to him for greater things. I mean, serving a prophet and so on should work out really well for him. But it proved instead to be a path to great persecution, tremendous hardship. God rebukes Baruch for his ambition, but he also promises him that wherever he goes, and remember, Baruch is faithful to Jeremiah and God throughout his ministry. So God promises him that wherever he goes, God will be with him. And even though there's death all around him, God will preserve him. God kept his word to Baruch, even as he kept his word to Jeremiah, and even as he keeps his promises to all who put their trust in him. Once again, I thank you for spending this time together. I pray that it's been helpful, especially in sorting through the things that are going on. I look forward to the next time that we're able to get together and continue our reading.